welcome Stuttgart Reds Ballpark and Reds TV. My name is Ken the Voice Hudson, and with me the CEO of Reds TV, the master of disaster, and the world's worst superhero. It's a beautiful sunny fall day, perfect baseball weather, and about 26 degrees Celsius, 75 degrees Fahrenheit. I'll be right back with the starting lineups. This is the semifinals for the German Championship in the Softball Bundesliga. Game 1 and 2 today, and if necessary, Game 3 tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Questions, comments, words of wisdom, or just want to shout out, the chat function is open. You will, you will get a shout out. Umpires today behind home plate, Bernd Dentz, and in the field, Simon Moore. So, starting lineup for the guest team, Stuttgart Reds, will be the Energizer Bunny, Annie Stepniak, followed by Jesse Wow. Batting third is Hope Cornell. Batting fourth, Makaya Kola. Kirsten Smith batting fifth. Jewel Broiniger batting sixth. Aaliyah Petzold batting seventh. Donna Beisch batting eighth. And batting ninth, Terry Pfister. In the defense behind the pitcher will be catching, yes, Miss Jennifer Weil. Jenny in college up in Wesseling, playing for the Wesseling Vermins. At first base, Marie van Ruden. At second base, Laura Brockmeyer. At third base is Emily Kuhler. Shortstop, Katarina Saleh. Left, center, and right, Kathy Chime, Milena Budinger, Alicia Thiessen. Oh, we're getting ready for the first pitch. Both teams really fired up after this first game. Second game will be right after the first game. Pitching is Hannah Hyde. And the first pitch in there for strike number one. And that pitch just a bit low, 1-1 the count. Come on out, support the Reds, and if you can't make it, the world's best photographer is standing right next to me, handing me some money to let me say this. Here is Drobny out here taking pictures. Swing and a miss, strike number two. And a high fastball, swing and a miss, strike number one. So if you want to look at impressions of the game, here's Drobny. We'll be posting them probably on Monday or Tuesday. One out, stepping in the batter's box, Jesse Via. And that pitch on the outside corner, fastball, strike number one. So the other semifinals see the Bonn Capitals hosting the Mannheim Tornadoes. One in the north against two in the south. Another pitch on the outside corner. Fastball for strike number 2. So Bond Capitals having to go to 3 games against the Regensburg Legionnaire. 15-2 win in the first game. 1-2 loss in the second game. 12-11 win in the third game. Swing and a miss. Another high fastball. 2 up, 2 down, 2 strikeouts. And into the batter's box, Hope Cornell. In the other semifinals, Mannheim, when they played against the Neuenkirk Nightmares, winning 2 decisive games, 4-0 and 8-1. She takes that pitch on the inside corner for strike number 1. Swing and a miss on the fastball. Strike number 2. Nothing but strikes for the pitcher. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Top of the first inning. And that ball fouled out of play. And that looked like the first off-speed pitch. Bended outside the strike zone. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Of course, Hope, experienced ball player, came to us from America. And a slow hit ground ball, bobbled by the second baseman. Hope safe at first on the error. And that brings up Micaiah Kalau, third base lady for the Stuttgart Reds. Oh, 1 on, 2 outs. And that ball low, gets past the catcher, throw down, not in time on the wild pitch. Hope Cornell gets herself into scoring position. Of course, Micaiah Kalau from Hawaii played in the offseason in New Zealand and came to the Reds this season and has been worth the weight in gold. That ball chopped. Third base, throw to third in time. Ends the inning on a 5-3. No runs on, no hits. 1 error, 1 left on. We'll be right back with the bottom of the first inning. Lineup for the Stuttgart Reds in the defense. Pitching Annie Stepniak. Catching her is Aaliyah Petzold. At first base, Kirsten Schmidt. Second base is Jesse Weil. Hope Cornell playing shortstop. At third base, Mikhail Kalau. Left center right, Maida Homburg. Julie Bräuniger. And in right field, Terry Pfister. Lineup leading off is Katarina Salzale, Milena Bodinger, Amelia Kulo, Laura Brockmeyer, Claudia Volkman, Alicia Thiessen, Jennifer Weil batting seventh, followed by Mary van Ruden and Kathy Chime. Pitch number one just a bit low. Saleh showing a bunt, pulled back on the ball. And that's ball number two. And inside, 3-0 the count. Time called. How did we get here? First, the Wesseling Vermins took second place in the Bundesliga North with a 17-3 record. Faced the Freising Grizzlies in the quarterfinals, winning 6-4 and 7-0. In South, Stuttgart won the league with 17-3 record last weekend. Hosted the Hamburg Knights. Won game one, 6-0. Game two was a nail biter. Stuttgart prevailed. And that's ball number four, a leadoff walk. Stuttgart won the nail biter game two in walk-off fashion, a line drive from Julie Bräuniger, winning game two 10-9. That's how we got here. Both teams offensive powerhouses, both teams pitching. I'll get to the team statistics, unfortunately. No individual statistics. And that ball kicks past Julie Bräuniger. Excuse me, Aaliyah Petzold. Ball number one. And a chop. Throw down in time to get the out. Sacrifice hit for Milena Bodinger. And up to bat, Amelia Cooler. One out runner at second. And that pitch to Amelia Cooler fouled out of play. Strike number one. So, as I said earlier, unfortunately, no individual statistics are available. Team statistics, offensively, Wesseling batting a team batting average of a very, very high 424. And that's swing and a miss, strike number two. And Stuttgart's batting average, team batting average, 358. 186 hits for Wesseling, 191 for Stuttgart in the season. Stuttgart, though, 68 extra base hits to 37 for Wesseling. And that ball blocked by Aaliyah Petzold. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Stuttgart leading with slugging percentage 580 to 540. So offensively, where Wesseling has a better team batting average, Stuttgart has a better power. And that ball fouled down the third baseline. And as you can see, a lot of slap hitting taking place. It's one of the big things in softball, slap hitting, bunting, bringing the ball in play. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out, runner at second. And Swing and a miss for a strikeout, out number 2. Just to be safe, throw down to first. It looked like a changeup. 2 outs. And stepping in the batter's box, Laura Bruckmeyer. Defensively, Stuttgart's fielding percentage for the season, 953 against 919 for Wesseling. So advantage Stuttgart there. And that ball grounded right to second base. Step and throw to first. So both teams able to get a runner on bases, but not able to get him past second base. No runs on, no hits, no errors, 1 left on. We'll be right back with the second inning. Top of the second inning, Kirsten Smith, Julie Bräuniger, Aliyah Petzold. Again, if you want to shout out, you have questions, comments, words of wisdom, put it in the chat function, and I'll try to answer. 0-0 the score. And that ball chopped. Nice short hop pickup by the shortstop. Throw down to first in time. Out number 1. And that brings up Julie Bräuniger, the hero in game 2. As I said earlier, line drive, scored the winning run. 1 out. That pitch catches the inside corner, strike number 1. Of course, game number 1 in baseball as well as in softball. German pitching game, or European pitching. Game number 2, American pitching. Swing and a miss, strike number 2. And that pitch right down the pipe. Rex unter der Pfeife. Out number 2. And Leah Petzold, the next batter. Pitching Wesseling team ERA from 274. Stuttgart team ERA from 219. And a check down. Did she go? Simon Moore at first base. Umpire says no. Both teams almost even in strikeouts for the season. Wesseling with 100. Stuttgart with 97. Base on balls even. Runs given up is the same. So defensively, pitching should be a good series. That ball grounded slowly to second base. Throw to first, out number 3. And a quick 1-2-3 inning. And we'll be right back with the bottom of the second. Batting for the Wesseling Vermins, Claudia Volkman, Alicia Thiessen, and Jennifer Weil. 0-0 to score. Both teams still looking for the first hit of the game. And that ball fouled straight back. You should have seen Yara jump. Almost fell out of his chair. Strike number one. That pitch just a little bit high. 1-1 to count. So for those of you who are not very familiar with softball, I'll give you some differences. Of course, the obvious one. Pitcher throws underhand. And that ball up high. And a check down to first. Did she go? No. So one of the obvious differences, as you can see, the pitcher throws underhand instead of overhand. The field is smaller. The base paths are shorter. And that's outside ball number 3. Another check. No, he didn't. 3-1 to count. But if you think because it's called softball that it's soft, don't tell these girls that it's soft. That ball in there. Strike number 2. Also, only play 7 innings, and the mercy rules are different. Ball is bigger, 9-inch, 5 ounces. Baseball, 12-inch, 7-ounce softball, and a leadoff walk for the second time in the game. Alicia Thiessen, the next batter. Wesseling got the leadoff batter on first in the first inning, bunted her to second, but left her stranded there. And this time, swinging away, foul ball. No balls, 1 strike. And that pitch misses for ball number 1, 1-1 to count. And on the outside corner, fastball, strike number 2. And that ball blooped. Caught by Jessica Weil, out number 1. And now up to bat, sister Jennifer Weil. Talked to Jennifer before the game about coming back from Wesseling to play against her old team. She admitted it is kind of weird in a way. You know, family matter, dad's a coach, sister's playing on the other team, but when the game starts and that ball grounded shortstop, throw to first in time for out number 2. But she said as soon as the game starts, all friendship ends. She wants to win, which is the right attitude. Next batter, Marie van Ruden. 2 down, runner at second base. That pitch up high, ball 1. Inside, ball number 2. And 3-0 the count. And that pitch misses high and away, a 4-pitch walk. Puts runners at first and second, brings up number 9 batter, Kathy Chime. Low ball 1. Oh. Annie Stepniak having a little trouble finding the strike zone. There's a swing and a miss. Strike number 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. And that off-speed pitch, she's way out in front. Fooled Kathy Chime completely. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And a ground ball fielded by second baseman Jessica Weil. Throw down to first baseman Kirsten Schmidt for out number 3. No runs, no hits, no errors. 2 left on. 2 in the books. 0-0. Eight, 9, and 1 for the Stuttgart Reds. Top of the 3rd inning. 0-0 the score. Donna Beisch, Theory Pfister, and Annie Stepniak will be the 3 batters. That pitch high, ball number 1. Both teams still looking for the first hit of the game. Neither team able to get a runner past second base. That's probably why both of these teams are in the semifinals. And ball number 2. And there's a strike. 2 balls, 1 strike. Time called by the batter. Another one of the differences between baseball and softball. You'll see first base, third base pitcher wearing a mask. They're that much closer. A hard hit line drive saves the face. That pitch just low for ball number 3. 3 balls, 1 strike. And a high fastball. And Donabaish can't lay off it. Swing and a miss. Full count. And this time she lays off on the high fastball. A leadoff walk. Stuttgart gets the leadoff person on first base for the first time in the game. And number 9 batter, Thierry Pfister, steps into the batter's box. And that foul ball straight back. Strike number 1. That pitch up high. 1-1 to count. Shout out to Martina watching on Reds TV. Again, shout out, words of wisdom. Questions, put it in the chat function. We'll give you an answer, give you a shout out. 1-1 to count. Runner at first and bunt. Bunt goes foul. Again, bunting. Another one of those big differences between baseball and softball. A lot more bunting in softball. But the idea of the bunt is the same. Get the runner advanced. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss and a throw down to first. Not in time. Strikeout for the first out of the inning. And that brings up Annie, the Energizer Bunny, Stepniak. And she swings at the first pitch, pots it up, and a nice running catch by the first baseman for out number 2. Brings up Jesse Vile. Runner at first, 2 outs. That ball fouled back again. Stuttgart, the visiting team in game number 1. They'll be the home team in game number 2. And if there is a game number 3, tomorrow at 1 o'clock, Stuttgart will be home team. And that change up in there for strike number 2. Of course, best of 3, so the team who wins 2 games advances to the finals to face either Bonn or Mannheim. If I can get any scores from that game, I will let you know. And that ball blooped over the first baseman, not able to catch it. Foul. Oh, Jesse still alive. No balls, 2 strikes. And a ground ball right to the third baseman. Step and throw in time. Out number 3. Stuttgart not able to do anything with their leadoff batter. No runs, no hits, no errors. 1 left on. 2.5 innings complete. Score remains 0-0. Bottom of the third, top of the lineup. Katarina Saleh, Milena Pottinger, Amelia Cooler. 0-0 the score. Neither team able to get a hit. Neither team able to get a runner past second base. And that pitch misses low and outside, ball number one. And a foul ball out of play. Strike number one. And the bunt shown, the pitch was low. Ball number two. And a ground ball. Nice fielding by the second baseman. Throw to the first baseman for out number one. And next batter, Milena Pottinger. Milena's sacrifice hit in her first at bat. And on the PA system appropriate song, Girls Just Wanna Have Fun. That pitch low for ball number one. And up high, 2-0 to count. And that pitch high, 3 straight balls, 3-0. And that called strike. Caught the bottom part of the strike zone for strike number one. 3 balls, 1 strike. Still have time to get on down and watch live and in person. No entrance fee, food and drinks available. And that missed outside by Mukasekele. Pitcher Annie Stepniak not happy with the call, but the call stands. Walk for Milena Pottinger. Safe at first. And next batter, Amelie Cooler. Struck out in her first at bat. So after a little powwow, Leah Petzold gets back to her place behind home plate. Amelia Cooler steps into the batter's box. Safe at second. Oh, stolen base for Milena Pottinger. Another difference in between baseball and softball, of course. In softball, you cannot leave until the ball leaves the pitcher's hand. So not as much stealing in softball than baseball. And that ball slapped down the third base line. Foul, 1-1 to count. As I said earlier, slap hitting big part of softball. The batter's boxes are larger than in baseball. You can actually get a running start. One and one to count, runner at second base, one out. That pitch left up, 2-1. And there's a slap hit. Called foul by home plate umpire. Was close, but I believe that was the right call where Makea Kalau caught the ball. The ball was in foul territory, so nothing but a long strike. 2-2 to count. And that ball fouled straight back. And a slap hit to third to first. Throw back down to third. Not in time. So on the ground out. Runner advances. Melina Bodinger advances to third. Gets herself 60 feet away and brings up Laura Brockmeyer. Laura grounded out to Jessica Weil in the first inning. And that's strike number one. That's the first time we've had a player at third base in the game. And that ground ball hit foul. Quickly, no balls, 2 strikes. Runner at third base, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And that catches her on the arm. And she had a elbow protector, but I think it hit up above that. And as I said, even though it's called softball, it's not soft, and that hurts. So hit by pitch puts runners on the corners with 2 outs and brings up Claudia Volkman. Claudia walked in her first at bat. And we hope that second baseman Laura Brockmeyer is okay. She's getting herself to first base. Oh, no balls, no strikes, 2 outs. Runners on the corners. And a bunt shown, pitch low and outside. And delayed steal by Laura Brockman, trying to get herself in a rundown to get Milena Bodinger home. Stuttgart not biting. Ball number 1. And that's on the upper outside corner for strike number 1. 1-1 to count. Runners at second, third. And that ball hit a long way right over our photographer's head. And hits the top of the fence, but on the left side of the foul pole, nothing but a long strike. for out number 2, or strike number 2. Swing and a miss. The ball gets past the catcher. And on the wild pitch strikeout. First run of the game for the Wesseling Vermins. Oh. Freising able to score the first run of the game on a wild pitch. And we have runners at the corners again. And Coach Christoph Manske comes out of the dugout to talk to his players. So a strikeout getting past the catcher gives Wesseling the first run of the ball game. Runners second and third, 2 outs. Alicia Thiessen, who flew out in her first at bat. And that pitch taken in for a strike. And second attempt at getting in a rundown didn't work. Caught stealing goes 2-1 to 6 for out number 3. In any case, 1 run on no hits, no errors, 1 left on. After 3, Wesseling leads 1-0. We'll be right back with the top of the 4th inning. So we're in the top of the 4th inning. Stuttgart in the middle of the lineup. Hope Cornell, Makaya Kalau, Kirsten Schmidt. Bottom of the 3rd, Wesseling puts the first run of the game across the board on a wild pitch strikeout. Let's see if Stuttgart has an answer. And that ball smoked into right field. First hit of the ball game belongs to Hope Cornell. A line drive into right field. And that brings up McKay Kalau. Oh, Stuttgart at least was the first batter of the inning trying to answer. That pitch a little high, ball 1. And that ball hit into right field. Shallow foul. About 1 foot foul. That would have been really hard for the right fielder to get a hold of that. 1-1 to count. So, Hope Cornell at first. McKay Kalau with a 1-1 count. And she fouls that one over our head for a 1-ball, 2-strike count. And a half swing, but a changeup in the zone for strike number 1. That one looked like it even fooled the umpire. Beautiful changeup out number 1. Kirsten Schmidt, the next batter. Grounded out to the shortstop, her first at bat. And that pitch just a little bit high and outside. Throw down to first base, gets all the way into the corner. And Hope Cornell tries to make the third, puts on the brakes, gets back to second. So error on the catcher puts Hope Cornell in scoring position. Ball number 1 to Kirsten Schmidt. That ball fouled out of play. 1-1. And a shout out to, I assume, Hope's mommy, Jennifer Cornell, watching all the way in Delaware. Must be pretty early in the morning. Thank you for getting up and watching the game. Swing and a miss. Strike number 2. Couldn't lay off on the high fastball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And that one chopped to the first base. And the coach comes out of the dugout for some reason. On the out, tag out. Kirsten Schmidt out. And coach saying something. If I figure out what he's talking about, I'll let you know. Hope Cornell now at third base. And apparently there's a rule about Hope's got to go back to second base for some reason, probably interference or something or another. And Christopher Munske trying to get an explanation. But because Kirsten Schmidt didn't run all the way to first base, apparently Hope Cornell's got to go back to second base. And that's what they're explaining to Chris Munske. It's one of those intricate rules where if Kirsten would have kept running, it's possible that they would have had a play at third. So Hope Cornell back at second base. Christoph Manske unhappy. Umpires back in their position. 2 outs. Julie Breuniger up to bat. a ball hit in right field. No problem for the right fielder. No runs on one hit, no errors, one left on. 3.5 innings done. We'll be right back with the bottom of the fourth. 1-0 the score. Bottom of the fourth inning, score remains 1-0 in favor of the Wesseling Vermins. And quick chat with the home plate umpire. He explained the situation when the batter runner goes back towards home on the ground ball, which Kirsten Schmidt did, then it's considered interference. Dead ball, and all runners have to go back to their bases. So thank you, Mr. Dents, for the explanation. We're bottom of the fourth. Alicia Thiessen, Jennifer Wow, Marie van Ruden fly out to second base, her first at bat, and that one slapped down the third baseline for strike number one, foul ball. And that one fouled straight back, 0-2 the count. And there's a bloop single. And she's stretching it to a double, so first hit for the Wesseling Vermins is a blooper over the shortstop / third base. Rolls away from everybody and a stand-up double. And Jennifer Weil, the next batter. Oh, it took into the fourth inning for both teams to get their first hit. And a bunt. And because she bunted the ball and ran into the ball after she was out of the batter's box, she's out. Oh, a little bit of luck for Stuttgart on that. Out number one for the Stuttgart Reds, Marie van Ruden, the next batter. She walked in her first at-bat. Nice block by Aaliyah Petzold. Keeps Alicia Thiessen at second base. Swing and a miss on the high fastball. That pitch on the inside corner. Hot cheese at the knees. Strike number two. And out by window shopping. Another strikeout at the bottom of the knees. And as I'm known for, oh, yeah, out number 2. Number 9 batter, Kathy Chime, grounded out to second base. Her first at bat. And that ball outside for ball number 1. And time called. Aaliyah and Annie not on the same page. 1 ball, no strikes, 2 outs. And that pitch high for ball number 2. And a shout out to Christina DeWolf all the way from Croatia tuning in. Thank you. 2 balls, no strikes, 2 outs, runner at second. And that fastball in there for strike number 1. That ball popped up over the head of the center fielder all the way to the fence. A double for Kathy Chime brings in Wesseling's second run of the game. A 2-out double. And that brings up Katerina Salai. 2-0 now, the score in favor of Wesseling. Katerina, a walk and a ground out. And a nice block by the catcher. Keeps the runner at second base. Trying to steal and overslides the base. Tagged out. Stuttgart gets their third out, but Wesseling gets their first 2 hits of the game and puts a run across the board. 1 run on 2 hits. No errors, nobody left on. 4 innings in the books. Wesseling 2, Stuttgart 0. Oh, Stuttgart needing to answer the 2 runs from the Wesseling Vermins. Aaliyah Petzold, Donna Beisch, Thierry Pfister, the 3 batters in the top of the 5th inning for the Stuttgart Reds. And Martina sitting on the German Autobahn, hopefully not watching but listening. And that pitch low and in for ball 1. And that pitch just a bit high. 2-0 to count. And there's a foul ball out of play or in play, but foul. 2 balls, 1 strike. And that ball fouled. No chance for Genival to make a diving catch. Strike number 2. And shout out to you, my buddy Eddie, watching all the way in Sindelfingen. One of my slow pitch softball teammates on the team. Shit happens. Slow pitch softball, of course, getting bigger and bigger. Tournaments almost every weekend all over the place. And Aaliyah Petzold can't lay off the high fastball out number 1. Or if you want to play slow pitch softball, that's for old guys like me. Ball is pitched. It's got to go between 2 and 3 meters high. The field's the same as softball. That's in there for strike number 1. It's always fun. Almost every baseball club has a softball team. Check it out if you're enjoying this and want a slower game. Swing and a miss, strike number 2. And on the inside corner, called strike number 3, out number 2. And number 9 batter, right fielder Thierry Pfister, steps into the batter's box, steps out of the batter's box, and goes to talk to her coach. I'm sure the coach's advice was hit the ball somewhere where they're not. And foul tip straight into the glove of the catcher. Strike number 1. And that pitch had some movement on it. Moved from outside in. Caught the outside edge of the strike zone. Strike number 2. No balls, 2 strikes. And a pop-up, but out of play. Count stays 0-2. And that changeup fools Miss Pfister. 3 strikeouts for pitcher Hannah Hyde in the top of the 5th inning. And Stuttgart's half an inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. 4.5 in the books, 2-0 for Wesseling. Bottom of the fifth, top of the lineup for the Wesseling Vermins. Katarina Sale, Milena Bodinger, Amelie Kühler. That off-speed pitch misses outside. Ball number one. There's strike number one, 1-1 to count. Up high, ball two. And a ground ball foul. 2-2 to count. And that ball foul out of play. Count remains 2-2. And that pitch just outside. Looked like the batter thought it was strike three. Pitcher thought it was strike three, but the guy who counts, the umpire, said ball three, 3-2 the count. And that ball out of play. Count remains 3 balls, 2 strikes. So the winner of the series, of course, goes on to the German Championship to face either Bonn or Mannheim. The losers not done Europe or Deutschland Pokal. And that ball, nice pickup by Jessica Weil. Throw to Kirsten Spitt. 4-3 for out number one. Next batter, Milena Bodinger. Sacrifice hit, walked and scored. So, like I said, the winner goes on to the German National Championship. The loser plays in the Deutschland Pokal is what they call it. That pitch up high. Looks like, if I'm looking at it right, on the 23rd of September. So for either team, the season wouldn't be over after this weekend. That ball fouled out of play. One and one to count. And that's a hit up the middle. Single for Milena Bodinger. Amelia Kühler strikeout and a ground out for her so far. And stolen base for Melina Bodinger. Second one of the game for her. Pitch called a strike. And some of the coaches in softball, instead of giving signs in normal way, give signs by numbers. 035 was the call, and that's a blooper into left center field. A double and a run scored, so it looks like maybe the Wesseling Vermins have been able to figure out Annie Stepniak after going all the way into the fourth inning with no hits, 2 hits in the fourth, now 2 hits in the fifth. Third run across the board. Score 3-0. One down, runner at second. Laura Brockmeyer grounded out, was hit by a pitch. And that pitch way inside, and Amelia Kuhler able to advance to third on the wild pitch. And Stuttgart getting together to talk a little bit of strategy. And a shout out to Christina DeWolf watching. From the comments, I believe she's rooting on the Wesseling Vermins. 1 ball, no strikes, 1 out, runner at third. And there's a ground ball. Nice pickup by Mikea Kalau. Turns and checks the runner, who has a dive back to third and throws a rocket to first to get out number 2. Brings up Claudia Volkman. Walked and was safe at first on the wild pitch that scored the first run of the ball game. And she takes pitch number 1 for ball number 1. That pitch way high and outside, ball 2. Ball 3, 3-0 the count. And a 4-pitch walks, puts runners on the corners with 2 outs. Brings up Alicia Thiessen. Flew out the first at bat, doubled in her second at bat, the first hit. And it looks like we're going to have a pinch runner. Another one of the differences is you can put in a pinch runner to run. You can also then bring back that player into the game, which in baseball, of course, if you take somebody out, he's done for the day. In softball, there is a re-entry rule. Runners on the corners with 2 outs. And that ball grounded right to the first base lady, who catches it, touches first base for out number 3, but not before Wesseling able to put another run on across the board. 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, 2 left on. We'll be right back with the top of the 6th inning. Top of the sixth, top of the lineup, Annie Stepniak, Jesse Vile, Hope Cornell. Stuttgart still looking to get on the board. Only one hit in the ball game. Of course, Wesseling only 4 hits. But Stuttgart needs to get somebody on, get them over, get them in. 3-0 the score. And a strikeout and a fly out so far. And that ball grounded between third and short. Single for Annie. Good start. Next batter, Jenny Vile. Or Jessie Vile. Jenny, of course, catching for Wesseling. Runner first, no outs. That pitch a little high, outside, ball one. And that's ball number 2. 2-0 the count. Two and 0 the count. And that's strike number 1. Throw down to first, not in time. Trying to keep Annie close to the base. 2-1 to count. Of course, the corner's playing in, waiting on a bunt. And there's kind of a bunt. And throw down to... Now Annie gets herself in a rundown. Throw goes into right field, and Annie able to score on the air from the third baseman. Stuttgart finally gets a run across the board. So sacrifice hit, 3-4 at first base for the out. Annie advances to second on the play. Gets a little bit too far between second and third. Starts getting in a rundown, and the third baseman makes the error to give Stuttgart their first run of the game. And now the coach comes out and talks to his players. 3-1 now the score, and Hope Cornell, the next batter. So for all those who have parked in left field, that's what I like to call the Hope Zone. Park at your own danger, because she can put the ball out there. That pitch on the outside corner. Strike number 1. There's ball 1, 1-1 to count. That ball popped up, and neither the third baseman or the catcher can get a hold of it. So, like the Bee Gees song, Hope stays alive. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Maybe that's the break Stuttgart needed. Hope still in the batter's box. And that ball grounded, but foul. Chasing our wonderful photographer out of the way. There's Drobny standing out there in left field, taking thousands of photos. We'll upload hundreds of photos to the website. Take a look. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And that pitch catches Hope looking. Strikeout for out number 2. Looked like a changeup. Out by window shopping. 2 outs. McKay Kalau, the next batter. And that ball chopped off home plate. And neither the pitcher or the third baseman can decide who's going to catch that. So McKay Kalau safe at first. I'm going to call it a base hit. And that brings up Kirsten Schmidt. 2 outs. Kirsten ground out to the shortstop, ground out to the second baseman. And that ball on the inside, fouled back. Strike number 1. Swing and a miss. Strike number 2. No balls, 2 strikes. And on the high fastball, swing and a miss for out number 3. Stuttgart, though, able to put 1 run across the board, 1 run on 2 hits, 1 error, 1 left on. We'll be right back with the bottom of the 6th inning. Seven, 8, 9 batting for the Wesseling Vermin in the bottom of the 6th inning. Jenny Weil, Marie van Ruden, and Kathy Chime. Wesseling leading 3-1. Stuttgart put 1 run in the the top of the 6th inning. And that ball fouled straight back. Strike number 1. Swing and a miss on the off-speed pitch. Strike number 2. Jenny 0 for 2. Grounded out to the shortstop, tried to bunt and was hit by the ball outside of the batter's box. And that line right back to Annie Stepniak, who snags it out of the air for out number one. Marie van Ruden walking strikeout for her. And there's a chop. And foul ball called by the umpire. If the ball hits the batter while she's in the batter's box, it's a foul ball, and that's apparently the call that home plate umpire Bernd Dentz made. Of course, I'm sure Stuttgart would ask for video replay if we had it. We don't. And that ball smacked down the third baseline, but foul for strike number two. No balls, two strikes. That pitch just a little bit low, missed by a Mukasekle. Ball number one ball, two strikes. Up high, 2-2. And a chopper up the middle, through for a base hit. Oh, Marie van Ruden singles, puts yourself at first base. The runner at first, one out. Number 9 batter, Kathy Chime, doubled all the way to the fence in center field. Her last at bat, grounded out in her first at bat. And she's bunting that ball. Throw down to second in time. Oh, a nice play by Annie Stepniak, gets the lead runner. Oh, 1-6 in the score sheet, out number 2. Kathy Chimes safe at first, and leadoff batter Katarina Salai. Walk and 2 ground outs for her today. And she takes that pitch just a bit high for ball 1. And that ball slapped into the third base fence. Strike number 1, 1 ball, 1 strike. And another foul ball, this time out of play for strike number 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And that ball gets past the catcher, down low, wild pitch. Ball number 2, and it only took us 6 innings to get it. Triple deuces. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And another foul ball down the third baseline, this time making the third base coach do his Best Keanu Reeves impression going Matrix. Count remains 2-2, 2 outs, runner on second. And that ball right to the shortstop. Strong throw, but not in time. Infield single puts runners at the corners. Brings up Milena Bodinger. Milena sacrifice bunt, a walk and a hit. And on the steal to second, the runner from third. Able to cross home. So double stolen base, runner to second, runner to home, a fourth run for the Vermins. And 0-3-5-0-3-5, the signal from the coach. And there's strike number one. 1-1 to count. Milena Bodinger takes that pitch low. Looks like she's trying to do a running slap hit. 2 balls, 1 strike. And that ball foul down the third baseline. Nice diving attempt by Mikea Kalau to get that. This one was definitely foul. And twice in 1 inning, it's triple deuces. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And that one right back to Annie Stepniak, who Stepniak's to first base, throws the ball, ends the inning, 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, 1 left on. Wesseling gets the run back that they gave up in the top of the 6th inning, 4-1. We'll be right back with the 7th and final inning. That's the ball game. Looking strike number 3 for out number 3. Final score: Wesseling 4, Stuttgart 1. Stuttgart only able to get 3 hits. We'll be back in about a half an hour for game number 2. So come back, join us.